This life is filled with ups and downs in this life. You'll feel highs and lows cause this life's unpredictable to begin. But don't you know that there's a season for everything, everything, everything. You gotta know there's a season for everything, everything, everything. So when you up high, keep striving and when you're down low, acknowledge there's a season for everything.
Get ready for the coffee club. Go grab your cup of coffee. Be sure and share. Go tell others. We're in Florida. We're in Florida. It's totally different.
Blizzards are here.
Live in Orlando. We're here with 72 million people that come here a year, so we are doing it in Orlando.
Is that mic turned all the way up?
Got our coffee? Go get your coffee while you can.
Yeah, a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Just give people a minute to small one.
We get some mic levels.
This feels like we're really on. What'd you say?
We get some mic levels. Y'all just project a little bit.
Hello! Log on! Share.
Got a good number of topics for you. Got a lot of good topics from our trip.
Oh, yeah.
All you people, you got the favorite God on you? Orlando. We got our coffee. That's why we're in travel cups, because we're on the road, we're traveling. If you don't know us, we always want to introduce ourselves. I'm Angela Robinson, Oklahoma by way of Baltimore, and now Orlando. I believe I've covered a lot of the U.S. Welcome.
Angela Vera from Puerto Rico to Baltimore to Orlando.
Sherry Grant from Baltimore.
Yay. And we are the Coffee Club. Oh, we got a good show today. We're on our trip to Orlando for our Florida Family Conference 2019. It's already been exciting.
Yeah,
and yes, it really has. Lots of good things. And we're going to take some thoughts out of the conference a little bit further into the show. But we always like to start off with a timeout moment.
Wait a minute, before we even get to that, if you're in the area, you should come on down.
Yeah, yes, you should.
What's the address?
6515.
6515
International Drive.
The Avante Palms.
The Avante Palms Hotel and Resort. You're going to love it. There's lots going on. And you got to be a part of it. That's good. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. You can be a part of this discussion. Tell others.
We have service tonight.
Yeah. And also
7:30.
Yeah.
7:30 p.m. tonight. It's going to be awesome. So you should
Musical
come.
concert.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Tell us, Elma Danielle, what is it?
Musical concert at 9:30.
Musical concert, 9:30 here at Avante Palms Conference Center and Resort.
Yes, and you're going to see some of the live artists that you're going to hear at the end of this show too. So this is going to be wonderful. You got to be here. You got to be here.
Saturday, workshops in the morning starting at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. So come. There's always coffee brewing here too, even then. So it's going to be good. Got a full session planned. All right. So let's kick it off. We always like to start out with something about our timeout session. So, timeout, we're going to give you an example based on our trip. What do you think about waiters that sometimes can be a little bit over the top? Sometimes you can have a waiter that acts like he's known you all his life. Last night, we decided to go to Uno's Pizzeria. So maybe I shouldn't have said where we ate. Our waiter. But the waiter was so personal and so in our space and so kept making jokes. And so Mr. Angie ordered a drink.
A drink?
I mean,
Coca-Cola. A Coca-Cola. And he looked at me like, do you want a diet?
Does he need a timeout? Right, that's what I mean.
So
she said, I like a Pepsi. He said, you mean a Diet Pepsi?
Oh, shady. Shady.
He kept trying to redo our orders, and then he kept making all these bad jokes every time we were making, orders. But he was so over the top that I thought I needed to illustrate through an illustrated sermon. He wanted us to know who he was. Yes, he signed his name. And so Adam, he leaned over and told us who he was. So I said, I'm just going to take this off the table. As in,
You took that with you?
this is Adam.
Oh, okay.
So we have a souvenir. I mean, our waiters that are like
autograph napkin.
Autograph. Does he need a timeout? Or
Well, he needs a timeout from the diet part, the diet comment.
oh, but this.
Did you ask him what he meant?
No, he continued to make jokes. He continued to just have one-liners after one-liners after one. This one, he said he was Adam, and he was like, okay, well then you need to find your Eve. And he was like, oh, I have found my Eve, and he just was in our space and in our business, and it's kind of felt like, wow, this is a little too much. It's one thing to be friendly, and it's one thing to strike up a conversation.
You needed my husband with you, because when we went to Hawaii, one day it was raining, so we decided to go to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the movies, and you know how you have to pick your seat now? So you can see that, that nobody is sitting next to you.
Uh-huh.
And it was during the day, nobody was really in the theater. So we were good. We were sitting there getting, had our little stuff and sitting there, and then in comes this couple and sat right next to us. African-American guy with, a Caucasian woman, and they come and sit right next to us. And first thing he says after he sits down is he turns to us right when the movie started and said, hey, where y'all folk from? My husband turns to him and says, we're not talking. The guy said, oh, okay. We just needed that.
I was like, yes, we needed it there because he wouldn't stop. This guy would not stop. He just wouldn't be shut down. And we were dependent on him because we needed him for our checks and everything. And so I had, at the end, we all had the little wallet thingies. Everybody put their credit card in. I put some cash in. I'm on a budget this trip, and I put the cash in. And said, oh, we don't accept cash. It was like, stop. It's enough. It's enough. Just take.
That was a joke?
It was a joke. Your money's no good here. I wanted to say it's free, right? But it's like sometimes you're begging for a waiter or waitress to give you good service. Sometimes too much service can need a timeout. What do you think? Give him a timeout?
I don't know.
And this napkin will be on sale for 5 minutes after the coffee.
we don't want that.
No one wants.
Yes. So part of what we wanted to do is yesterday was Valentine's Day. So, everybody loves Valentine's Day, February the 14th. Oh, sorry about that, yes. I'm banging on the table. I'm excited. We want to do a little post-Valentine's Day check-in. Yes. How did everybody spend their Valentine's Day yesterday? Did you get some really wonderful gifts? I was sharing with them that there is a person on my job who said that his wife was turning 50, so he was going to get her 50 red roses. And you know, it sounds like a lot to me. That, you know, I was trying to picture in my mind, because you know, a bunch of flowers, like we were at the Walmart last night, it's like this big. But if you imagine by 5, I mean, when is it too much? I mean, I know you love me, but thank you for these roses. It might be a little too much, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's romance. What do you guys think? Post Valentine's, how is it too much when people go way, way over the top?
I don't know. I think it depends on your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends on, you know, everybody has a different love language.
Mm-hmm.
So some people, they look for gifts, and that's the way they see love. Some people look at time spent. That's love. You know, there are different ways that people love each other, and however your relationship is set up, I'm not hating on it.
Mm-hmm.
You need 50 roses to feel good about yourself, and that's good.
And I think a lot of it too is people take a lot of time to tell other people what they're doing, that it's kind of like I'm trying to get a reaction out of you. Because to your point, if you have a relationship, you just do what you do, and the person can appreciate it or not.
There's a lot of pressure, though. People are put under a lot of pressure. You know, what did you get? What did you do? You know, how did it go? You know, that kind of thing. And it puts, people are adults, but they're dealing with peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And Valentine's Day is one of those days where it's like you need to, you know, prove that you're worth something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're worth something based on gifts. And you're worth something based on, you know, external things.
Mm-hmm.
We've never had that in our relationship. Valentine's Day, we never purchased gifts or anything.
Mm-hmm.
We are each other's gifts.
Oh,
But aside from that, we have, you know, growing up having kids, like you can't go out on a romantic date. You have kids.
Mm-hmm.
So we would end up going like to IHOP or something with the kids
yeah.
on Valentine's Day. So
But you can tell, especially because even after we came out of the session last night and we're in Walmart, lines of men. I went around the back because, you know, you always leave something when you pack and you didn't get something. We were back in that area where you have the cosmetics and stuff. You come around, there's cards. Men, this is late at night, but it's like I can't get to midnight. I can't get to midnight without getting this card. And it's the day is almost over.
you gotta prove it.
And so the question is females, and it was men. There were no women in the store panicking and buying the card. That's the question. Why are we females projecting and putting that on men that you got to do this for me, that this is my day? Because you don't find Valentine's Day as a day that we say is equal for each gender. It's all about women.
It's programming.
It's
It's society. It's society programming. You know, you start off little, and it's like it's supposed to be cute to tell your daughter that she's a little princess.
Mm-hmm.
She's a princess. Treat her like a princess. Treat her like a princess, and then it just creates monsters.
Yeah.
So you got this poor guy who's working hard, trying to figure out how to buy you flowers and buy you stuff. It's just. It's external stuff. Like the wealth of a relationship is not in flowers and cards. But there are, like if you prove that you love somebody on a daily basis, Valentine's Day is not that big of a deal. Right. But if you're not showing love throughout the year, then you have to go over the top.
Yeah.
And just a reminder, if he's taking you out today, you are a side chick. Because today is National Side Chicks Day. Yeah.
Yes. So the question, yes, between the two of them, who has it worse? The one who allows themselves to be in that situation, or the one who's deluding themselves and not understanding this show was just so that I can go ahead and do what I want to do every other day of the year. The better thing is to keep it even.
Some people are okay with being the side chick. Some people don't have a problem with it. Like now, people are good with it. I don't want to be bothered with you all week. There's a song this girl has out, SZA, called Weekend. She said, I'll have them for the weekend.
Crazy.
You can have them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. and it's a mentality now.
But I have a friend that she actually got married. She was the one we thought she's never gonna get married because we would go like on a trip and she would have her head tied up and she'd be up under the covers and we'd still be out and we'd be like, she is never gonna meet anybody. She met somebody at a bowling alley and she has the best of both worlds because she said during the week he drives, so she still has time for herself. She still can actually do things with her friends. She found the balance. Now, the relationship created that balance, but it was a message in that all you have to do is create the balance in your own relationship. You don't have to feel like somebody has to leave me and I have to run them off. It's just like, just make it clear. There's times when I want to be with you, but there's times I still want to be with other people too. I want to go to the gym. I want to do other things. Because one of the things we saw on
That's codependency.
You walk through the
yeah, it's the kind of thing where you can create the relationship that you want, right? Without putting too much pressure. We saw something funny too yesterday. It was like,
It wasn't a lie. I talked to Pastor A, and this huge teddy bear running for a whole woman. We are like this.
a human.
A human teddy bear
Yeah,
walking
teddy
this
bear.
door.
Yeah.
He just walked down the aisle. Oh, and I'm like, oh look,
Why? He
it's
worked
the
for the
snuggle
store?
bear.
I
He
don't-
looked like the snuggle bear.
But I mean, was he there for the store?
No, I don't think so.
But anybody
Because
need
he
a
had,
hug?
He was out giving out hugs.
I don't think so because he had the big box of chocolate.
I think he was going to be, like you said, you're your gift to your husband. I think he was going to be somebody's gift. Yeah, is it too much?
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, and it's almost like if you do one thing extravagant, you got to try to
You have
top
to do
it,
another one.
and then top it, and then top it. And how do you ever pull that thing back? How do you ever get back to normal? You just got to say, it's too much.
It is the normal.
Yes.
It becomes the normal.
Mm-hmm.
I told my husband when we first started dating, he would open the doors, the car door for me.
Uh-huh.
And one day I just told him, I said, just stop. Because one day you're going to stop opening the door for me. But he still does it. And sometimes if he forgets, I'll just be standing there and he'll be like, oh, I forgot. But it's like those kind of things that once you start something, there's an expectation that you keep it up.
Yeah.
So if you buy a dozen roses on Valentine's Day, they're going to expect a dozen roses or something better next time.
Yeah.
the money.
Yeah, Mother said, what if they don't have the money?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Are you going to be resentful?
At the time of Valentine, you cannot find the money.
Mm-hmm.
Take for instance, he might lose his job, and there's no money to buy the roses.
Well,
What
no
you gonna do?
romance without finance.
Is that a good
You got
saying?
to have a dream.
Is that a good saying? Okay, come on. Talk to us, coffee
Sorry.
club members. Is that a good saying?
I went off on a tangent.
She went down a path. But see, this is the thing. This is advice that gets handed down, just like cooking recipes and so on and so forth. That stuff doesn't come out of your own head. That stuff is handed down to you as sage advice from people that represent their relationship is great. Hey, I'm going to tell you this. This is how you should be in your marriage. That's another subject. When is it too much? How much? Between even giving advice, mother to daughter, daughter to mother. Should that even be happening? Mother to daughter, daughter to mother. You should do it this way. This is the kind of man you need. This kind of woman you need. She needs to be like me. I need to approve her. This and that, Trying to get daughters-in-laws past the mother-in-law, in many cases, it's like, she's got to meet my approval because I know what you need, son.
Toxic. Toxic.
It's how we do relationships is so strange sometimes.
But it comes from your family of origin. Like whatever you have learned growing up, whatever your parents have done to you, that's the norm of what you should do. And so a lot of people just pass down dysfunction from generation to generation. I've never understood this. Like I have sons. So my son is taking your daughter to the prom. You get to the house and everybody wants to say, who's he? I got a shotgun. It's like,
Right.
what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
He's a nice young man. You should be proud and glad that he's taking you out. You know, but there's this dysfunction in us that you know, it's like, oh, if I'm a good father, then I need to threaten the guy who's trying to treat my daughter nice.
Right.
To exert that presence. Yeah. If I'm a good big brother, I need to, you know, show that I'm going to kill you if you do something to
Hurt my sister.
Yeah.
My brother actually had done that one time when I was dating a guy. He was like,
thanks.
right.
Like, gee,
I was
thanks.
not angry, but I guess my face didn't look happy. And, you know, it's like, okay, every relationship isn't sunshine every day, every minute. You know, there's no relationship that's like that it's like, oh, we're just so happy with each other. So I was just like, you know, he was there, and it was like, you're making my sister angry. And I'm like, no, you're making me angry. Because, excuse me, you're ear hustling our conversation, you know.
Right.
It's like, it doesn't concern you. And I think, you know, if we're going to pass advice on, we ought to pass on advice that has actually worked.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I know we have people that have had long marriages at the conference. And so what we were talking about is maybe people giving some secrets.
Some secrets, some of the longest.
Yeah. Like, call out some of the numbers and people on the coffee club. How long you been married? Tell us some numbers. How many years?
25.
45. 40 something.
48.
48. See, there's some longevity in the room. I'm sure online there's some long. Give it up for those who have endured. Happily endured. I'm making endurance sound like that.
Every day a happy day.
Yeah. What are some secrets?
Yeah, what is the secret?
To keeping it together.
Because we are in the line.
Be nice.
Be nice.
Be nice.
And put God first.
And put God first. Put God first. Be nice.
Yes.
And everybody be married for 48 years.
And,
Come
and
talk
keep
to us.
other
Coffee
people
Club.
out of your business.
Ah.
Other people out of your business.
Give us
Be a team.
I have a question.
Be a team.
Here's a question.
I have a question. So people like might be in a relationship or married for 50 years, but it's kind of like comparing an old mechanic to a new mechanic. Because an old mechanic, I mean, he might be an expert on old Ford block engines, but now they got Teslas, all digital cars, all electronic cars. If I take my Tesla to the experienced mechanic who's been doing it for 50 years, he's going to be lost trying to deal with a computer. So it's like you can't give advice from a Ford to a Tesla.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
So everybody hopefully heard that whole analogy.
I mean, what works for one person doesn't work for another person.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So to say, okay, like parents have their idea for what they want best for their child. But that child is not you. So you gotta let people, live their life, make their decisions. And one thing I found about adults, as soon as you get adults in a room with a child, they're always trying to teach them something.
Yeah.
And most of what they're trying to teach them is out of their own failure. And for me, I don't know about everybody else, but for me, anytime people try to tell me to do something, I want to prove to them that I have my own mind. So anytime you give children or young people advice, most of the time, if you tell them to go right, they're going to go left. Just because they have to, show that they have their own identity and they have their own voice and they have their own way of thinking. And most of the time, if you let people be who they are, they will go to the place that they're supposed to go. But if you want them, like you hear people say, oh, my dad was a doctor, my grandfather was a doctor, I don't want to be a doctor.
Right.
And it's like so much shame put on them if they move away from what the family has done. But what if they're supposed to be a lawyer?
Right.
And it is so weird because it's kind of like you see people through your own lens. So the person may make a good doctor, but all you see are the qualities in them that make for a doctor. You're missing all the others because your lens is so filtered by what my brother-in-law is a little bit like that, business. And not only one of his children ended up in business, but they all tried. And they all could have if all they wanted to do was make him happy. And so you just have to not put pressure on people to actually win your approval. But you know, I get that people are coming from a good place though, because a lot of times you want to save people from the mistakes you made. So I think that the key is that sometimes we shove advice in on people. Here's what I think, because I want to prevent you from going down the same path, but you got to wait for people to ask you. You know, when people ask you, I think it's totally legitimate. If somebody's asking you, they obviously see you as a role model, or they see something in you that they're actually asking, you know.
And Keith's point about the cars, you know, I mean, it's a new car model, but then there's the old car model. And most of these old cars are built to withstand, you know, the time, you know, and they might not have all of the blows and whistles for that one, but now they make it so that they put those blows and whistles in the old car. That's even better. You know,
Old cars were better. The new cars are
Right.
different.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Old
Are
cars,
different.
they could actually, they're just different. No, but I get Pastor Muro's point, because it's kind of like if I take your analogy and take it into a different arena. Let's say you have a new physician and an old doctor that's been practicing medicine for a really, really long time. He's had more practice. And so in terms of asking, you know, there's some things that are going to transcend. The new doctor, he's going to have newer techniques that don't cut you up, maybe don't leave scars. And so the old doctor can't be the whole answer, but the new doctor, you know, they may know some new techniques, but maybe something they've never seen before.
Yeah, because they got new stuff out here now.
Yeah.
They got like new AIDS and new gonorrhea and new like, super AIDS. I'm serious, they got new stuff now. But it's like even when I take like Jewel to the doctor, the pediatrician, she goes that Dr. Luna is old now. And sometimes, you know, if something comes up and he'll go and get his black book and bring it out and be sitting there like, because you don't know everything. You don't know everything. And that's the whole point. Like at some point, all of us need to realize that young people can teach, old people can teach.
Yes.
But everybody has to be open to receive people and not look down on somebody or not look up.
Right. And not short circuit where the answer comes.
It's also new ideas now. So like the old cars were actually built to last, like Ford built to last. But nowadays they build cars to be obsolete. They build it so, oh, you got the old body style, or you got this sensor in the car, we're gonna make this fail. So new things are kind of like, so marriage now, people like, oh, so-and-so got a divorce, I'm gonna get a divorce. Back in the day, people just like, I'm gonna stay in this marriage, I'm gonna wait till the kids get older or something like that. So people
wouldn't dream of it.
New things are planned to fail. It's like planned obsolescence, even with people in relationships. Nobody said that back. Every now people say, "Oh, get rid of your friends. If you don't like them no more, move." You know.
Oh, you're right. You're right. And you know what Mr. Angie was showing me that was today is the day. Not only is it Side Chick Day, but there was something called Junk Your Ex's Stuff in Baltimore, and they had dumpsters where you could bring all your ex's stuff and throw it in a dumpster. Yeah, it's a mindset, like you said, of discarding. Out with the old, in with the new, you know. And there's good
What's
stuff.
wrong with that?
But you know what I'm saying.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with
It's
it.
just
But
a different mindset.
if it gives you a mindset that everything has an escape clause, are there some times when you shouldn't? Yeah, escape a cycle.
Sometimes you need to.
But here's the thing. Sometimes escape a cycle. I'm totally with that. But sometimes there's just a good brother, and maybe there's somebody else that comes along, looks like something's more exciting there, something's better. You have a good, solid relationship, and it's like, let's move on, because it gives you that grass is always greener mentality, and you don't get into a marriage for 25 years, 40-something years, where you don't say, yeah, I know that looks good, but I'm actually perfectly happy with what I have. I think that sort
But
of,
what if you aren't perfectly happy?
yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. If you're not perfectly
It's
happy,
just a shipping
I
mentality.
think the mentality was that you suffer, endure, stay in stuff. Let them abuse you. Let them talk down to you. Let them knock you over the floor and just
Yeah.
pray that God
Yeah.
is just going to
Yeah.
keep you.
No,
No,
you're-
that's foolishness.
yeah, no, you're right.
And now people are not dealing with that crap. People
Yeah.
are like, you know what? This
It's
is
not
toxic. This is dysfunctional.
That's
I'm
it.
leaving. I'm not going to be in a marriage, a church,
Yeah.
a job where I'm being abused and I'm being mistreated.
Yes, and that's right. Oh, look
Friendships
at Elder
either.
Danielle. Look at her clap when she likes
Friendships either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at her clapping. But let's be careful with the word abuse, right?
Okay.
Sometimes people say I'm being abused, and all it is somebody is disagreeing with you.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, they're not abusing you. They're actually telling you the truth. And you need to be in a relationship where somebody can say something about you,
tripping.
and you
That's
can
right.
just say,
That's it.
you know what, you might be right.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that that's
Yeah,
abuse.
but-
I'm saying abuse is when people are like controlling you
Yes.
and
Yeah.
putting you down and shaming you and making you feel guilty about
Yeah.
everything that
Yes.
you do.
Right, right.
That's abuse.
Yeah, that's true. And the litmus test is right. Anybody that is making you feel like less than a human being, yeah, you don't need to be around them, not for
But
one
people
minute.
are afraid to stand up and say something to the people that are in their circle or in their environment. Because I was telling my father one time, I was with a rapper and he left out and we were going to a venue and he had on the craziest outfit. It looked like he had on slippers, some long jump, just like looked like a homeless crazy person. And nobody said anything. And I'm sitting there, I was like, why did somebody tell him he looked like a fool?
Because people probably tried to tell him. Some people, you cannot counsel them and tell them anything. It's like, oh no, I'm doing this. I'm wearing this.
They didn't want
I
to
don't
be
want to
fired.
hear it. Well, oh yeah, well that's another thing. But some people can't even tell people the truth.
Because they don't want to handle the truth.
Right, right.
And they don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And some people go into a relationship for the wrong reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that's
She-
so-
There you go.
Yeah.
She's right back in that.
Yeah.
Reason.
That was pretty good.
She's right. I mean, if you start out wrong, it's going to end up wrong. That's for sure.
Drew says you shouldn't force yourself to endure suffering. Hey, Drew.
Yes.
Deacon Mitchell said, amen. Pastor
What about
Williams
long
said, today, junk your old friend's stuff day. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, but you know, it's that feeling like I can, you know, just get rid of you and never even have to see if anything was in me. This is what I know about relationships is her side, his side, and the truth. Even when people have told me stuff I don't like about myself, that's not true. There was some element of truth. I just didn't want to face it.
You ain't want to believe it.
I didn't want to believe it,
Right.
that anybody could find a flaw in me. But, you know, it's like, but to your point,
How could they?
think of, right? And if you look, honest people of God, if you're honest, you know you're the same way. You just kind of bristle for a minute like, I'm working on it. Like, give me some grace. Don't we misuse that word? Or just give me grace till I get it right, you know. But at some point, yeah, you got to cut people off there. Yes, I'm a flawed individual, but look, you can shine a light on my flaws, but all you'll observe is the constant move of God. Yeah, I think we need a phew. How do we spend our me time? I need you to take it down a minute, take it down just a little bit. Let people make some comments on the topics that we've been talking about. Should people give you advice on your relationship? Do you married people go around giving advice to other people about how they should run their relationship? Do you go, look, we do this kind of stuff too. You have like a shower or something like that, and you know, at even weddings. I have been to weddings where they have it at the reception. All the married people give the new married couple advice, and it's a random set of guests. So just imagine what that's like. And they sit there and
Endure.
patiently, you know, listen. But I'm sure
Listen to a
that,
bunch of negative counsel.
yeah,
That's usually
yeah,
what it
that's
is.
usually what it is. So give us some thoughts.
And we're just going to share a little bit about me time and start to make a shift. Me time in Orlando. What kind of me time have you been having? Let's share me time. This
Don't start with me. I gotta think.
I can tell you this whole trip has been me time. You know, from the minute, you know, you just say, I'm not doing anything else. I've got my bag packed. From the minute I rolled that suitcase down the sidewalk, it was me time. This whole weekend is really going to be so good. We want to share, after we share some me time thoughts, one of the questions that we were talking about for this conference, how it opened up yesterday. But it's been fun hanging out with the ladies and just, you know, being here at the conference. All the out in the sunshine, just leaving in the sun and the weather. And, you know, it was so good even seeing the ones who had come early, like, we're here, and just posting, and it just made you want to come. It's just all been good. It's all been good.
Meantime, the same thing, the trip.
Mhm.
I enjoy from the beginning to the end.
Mhm.
Boom. We're in the middle. We're in the middle. We're in the middle.
Beginning to the third.
We're in the middle.
I haven't had a lot of me time. I mean, we're in a hotel room with me, Tony, and Jules sharing one bathroom. So I guess the only me time I had is when I get in the bathroom.
Tell them all to leave the room. Go, leave the room.
Others, have you had a chance to get any me time in? To just woosah, just relax? Yes. Shout it out, shout it out.
I had me time, no grandchildren.
Ham on. They love her grandkids call her Ham on. Ham on had me time with no grandkids.
Yes, that is wonderful. Others, shout it out. Me time.
Me time?
Are you getting that me time in? And if anybody's getting,
My me time is listening to my praise and worship and study, but I have roommates this time, so they disappeared, and I was able to do what I need to do in the bathroom too. So.
Another good time in the bathroom.
And I really, really
In the
enjoy
throne
it.
room.
Sometimes you get caught up in it, you know what I'm saying, and you forget the sense of timing, and that's the way I am. I mean, because I'm so into where I am at that moment.
that's when you know you're really in it. Yeah.
I just see movies.
Oh, what you see?
I saw Miss Bala.
That's so good. That was a good, Miss Bala was a good movie.
One time I went to the movies by myself. I sat in there. Some lady came walking in the movie theater and she sat right next to me. I was like, what the?
I'm trying to pick you up.
Yes.
Emily says she's watching while she works. Hi, ladies.
Yep. Others me time before we leave the me time segment.
I went to a restaurant last night by myself.
She sure did. Lou went to a restaurant by herself last night. Her dad took me out for Valentines dinner, and she said, I said, do you want to go with Elf Danielle, Pastor A, and Minister? And she said, no, I'm going out by myself.
There you
going.
go.
She went to Buffalo Wild Wings. She said she had 65-cent wings. She had got her own table.
Found the spot. Found the spot. That's
Drew, I'm not even going to read his comment. He needs help. He said he had me time on the toilet.
Look, and here he's like a third person. How did they go?
TMI.
Yes.
My me time is coming down here.
Nice. Definitely. Look like they need to put chairs in bathrooms.
They do.
Yeah, you know.
Called the throne.
Yeah, no, the other kind of chairs. So that, you know, maybe somebody needs to design a type of chair, not the chair. It looks like the bathroom is the one place that you can escape, that nobody will bother you. Put an extra, you don't have to ottoman in the bathroom. You know.
Well, you have kids, even when you go in the bathroom, their fingers are under the door like, what are you doing?
Can I come inside?
Yes.
And I had to fight for my me time to get here. Because my driver's license was up
Don't
in
even get us started.
Yes.
Don't even get us started. We have a segment for you,
She
Deacon
thought I could
Cynthia.
go by myself.
Jesus, she's telling
And so
me.
I finally got away.
Yes.
creep your nerves.
Yeah, you're going to be mentioned. You're going to get an honorable mention in a late segment of the show. But we wanted to share one of the things about the conference is, you know, you're here for a reason. And Pastor Sherry shared 4 really good questions that when you're in your me time, you really should just reflect on these 4 questions. You know, so we might as well give all 4, right? Yeah. So what is great? So give all of our people time to type it into your notes.
What's great in your life right now?
What's great in your life?
Me.
This
He said, me.
you know what? It's you. You should be happy with
Be able to
yourself.
celebrate yourself.
Yeah, this is me time. We're actually having a me time moment. See, because this is you're doing it in here. What is missing? This is your me time moment.
What's missing?
A lot of money.
He's speaking out. We have one participant
A
speaking
lot of
out.
money's missing.
He's missing a lot of money. You all that took his money, get it back to him. Third question is, why are you here? Is that the third one?
Why are you here? That's a good question too, especially when you come to a conference.
Yeah.
The conference is like the reason that I came. So because it's the reason that I came, I'm gonna like soak up every opportunity to be present in the conference. It's like, you know, we've gone to conferences before where people like go to the conference so they can sit up in their hotel room. To me, that just is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's different. It's different because then you can do that at home.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. It's like, for me, it's like the material, the content, the substance, the relationships, the fellowship, all of those are the reasons why I'm here. If I wanted to go on just a vacation just to stay in a hotel and sleep, I don't even go on vacation to sleep.
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
if I go on vacation, why would I go and sit in a hotel room when there's so much adventure and opportunity out there? So it's like, no, we make the most of every opportunity.
Yes.
So I'm here, and it's like people live their life that way. It's like they're physically in a place, but they're not really there.
Right. And it comes and goes so fast. And even though you leave, you know, you want to leave a thing like spent. Like, I have had a good time and I have done everything that I could do because it's not going to come around again. You know what I mean? But I do. I'm like you. I know people who will spend time with a book. And it's like you can, in a room, and sleep and eat at a place that you can find anywhere.
Right.
You know, like,
Right.
I can't even think
And
of
it's
one,
like
but
Kingdom Talks last night.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh, that was good.
if you missed it,
Yeah.
nobody can explain
bring it back to
to
you.
you what happened in here last
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Like, the impact, the power that came
The
from...
spirit.
Yeah.
It was a good spirit.
Like, even if you watch the tape of it,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not going to be the
Yeah.
same as it was experiencing it last night.
You know, and I like to say that, you know, we really plan and ask the Lord to show us what to do. And then when everybody comes, we want them to download every minute, you know, because you got to go back out now to your churches, to your home, and you've got to be able to be equipped. But, you know, it seems like people get lost in the fact, okay, I made it, okay, I want to sleep here in the room, you know, or I'm going to do this, you know, and it's so, it just, you know, it just breaks our heart, you know, after we have put so much thought and money, you know, to have the place, to take this time to set it up.
It's somewhat arrogant too, because it's like, okay, if I was sharing, then I would come. But if I'm not sharing, then what you're presenting is not as important as
Right.
as what I was presenting.
And I think it just goes back to even though we keep bringing up this section and calling it me time, it's not me from the sense of
Selfish.
Yes, that's the word I'm struggling for. It's like it's a better me time. It's almost like if we could say it that way, it would be to understand me time isn't for me to just like veg and like indulge. It's me time. I'm working on me time. And some of it, yes, is rest and enjoy and, because that's making me better. But I think we're taking that me time thing into meaning,
I have license to do whatever I want, whoever, don't bug me, don't bother me. And that's not what we're saying me time is. You know, and that's why even like these kinds of questions and stuff, and even like the affirmations from last night, even if you use your me time like that, that's a better use than just saying, I'm going to soak my feet, and boy, my feet feel good. Because you know your feet are not going to feel good again after that. But you might want to do something in your meantime.
But there's a difference between self-care and selfishness.
Right.
Yeah.
People that constantly pour out
Yeah.
Need to rejuvenate.
Need to rejuvenate. Yeah, yeah. So you got to keep it all in proper perspective. And I think we got one more question, which is, what do I hope to get out of it, right? That was the last question.
What kind of life?
What kind of life
do you want
for yourself?
What kind of life?
What kind of life?
Good. Thank you for reiterating. What kind of life?
What kind of life do you want? And I get these questions from Tony Robbins. I love Tony Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
So these are questions that he always asks. And one of the things that he says is, a lot of people are trying to do what they could do in 5 years in 1 year.
Yes.
So it's not that you can't accomplish things, it's just you get to a place where you start feeling like a failure because you haven't done it in the time that you set for yourself. And sometimes the times that we set for ourselves aren't realistic. So you can accomplish some of the things that you plan on accomplishing, but sometimes you're just not giving yourself enough time to do it.
Yes, yes.
It's like people make the bucket list.
Yes.
So, at this age, you're supposed to do this. At this age, you're supposed to do this. And most of the time, when you look back to the bucket list, nothing is done. So you don't do nothing.
Yeah, my problem with bucket lists is that you are evolving. And so, you know, the things I wanted when I was 20, I didn't want when I was 30, and on and on. You know, you life changes, and if you hold yourself to that step, you will make yourself crazy.
And then the focus is on doing something before you die. So it's like, it's kind of a grim focus. It should be like, I'm focusing on doing things so I can live, not things before I die. You know, it's a negative.
I like the thing that Terry mentioned this morning when he was talking about how it took 3 years from the time they started planning the Fusion Fest till it came to the vision.
It takes time.
Many of us do not have the patience.
But,
you know, years ago, Billy Graham was coming to Baltimore, and they started meeting with the pastors several years before he was coming. And they had already been planning that a couple years before that.
Wow.
You know, so there's years of planning that go in. People see, oh, there's 60,000 people at the stadium, but they don't realize it was 4-5 years in planning that.
Which means there's no such thing as an overnight success.
That's right.
Exactly.
People look at people and say, oh, they just popped up. And no, people have been working underground, outside of the radar, and crafting and honing their skills and doing the work that nobody knew about. And then they come up at the time, and it's like, that didn't happen overnight.
It takes 10 years to be an overnight success.
Yeah, right. Yes, it is. 10 years to be an overnight success. Yeah. You don't know.
That's it's come like if I didn't come to this conference, I don't know what to do, because like I put in it so long with my boss, and she gonna turn me down at the appointed time. I was saying, Lord, I was even crying tears because it's feeling to me like I'm going to get something fresh. You know, there's something inside of me telling me I'm going to hear different things. Especially last night, I would regret it if I didn't come. And the Christian said, Mother Claudia, you'll miss something. I don't want to hear that.
Right.
You know, so I'm so pleased and present with myself, and thank God that, you know, she go back and reconcile. I cry, I call Pastor, I didn't get money. I call
But it was expectation. And that's like with those questions. It goes back to, what's your expectation? If you don't expect anything, you're not going to get anything. If the highlight of this weekend is sitting in a hotel room
Right, you can do that without coming to the conference first.
Yeah.
Right, just at any
You
time,
got
go to your
low
nurse.
Yeah, low
There's something is telling me I need to go to conference. And I was telling Paul, I said, Paul, I need to go. She said, well, then, okay, no problem. You know, but when she turned me down and said, no, Miss Claudette, you cannot go. I said, Mrs. Abreu, I put it in from 3 months before.
Mhm.
Because there's something inside of me. that
You had to fight to be here.
Yes.
That's a fight. It's a fight. Hey! Woo! And she's here.
But that's the thing, you know, everything that is big, everything that is valuable is going to take a press, you know.
And every year you learn something different.
Right.
You'll be part of the vision.
Mhm.
So you're supposed to be here.
Mhm.
You have to be here.
And you have to position yourself. We were talking about how sometimes it can almost be, this is one of the sections that we were talking about for too much. We're calling too many different things ministry that aren't really ministry.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? We just keep saying, well, this is the this
Not
ministry, this is the that ministry. We talked about it, the donut ministry and the cold water ministry, the toilet ministry, the tablecloth ministry, the trash can
Don't
ministry.
forget the color blue
The
committee.
color blue committee. It's like, sometimes we just slap ministry on it and say, I did something and I'm done. And that's why we're thinking, to your point, the expectation is too low, because what is real ministry? You know, singles ministry. What does singles ministry mean? We all get together and go on a date, a group date. Is that
No,
singles
and ministry
ministry?
is impact.
Yeah.
Positive impact.
Yeah.
And it's like outside of you.
Ah.
And most of what people think ministry is this feeling of like chills that I did something great.
Yeah.
And it's not about you. That's why something like this is so important. If your name is not on the program,
Yeah.
if you're not on the agenda, can you still sashay your behind in here and sit down and listen and allow yourself to be ministered to?
Yes.
Yeah, before the New Year's, months before the New Year's, and it's not a New Year's resolution. It's just a made-up mind to be more Christ-like, and then to come in here and have me time, and I gleaned from every speaker. For after a while, I stepped forward and was listening, and I got something from each speaker. I was encouraged, really encouraged, to be the best you. Every one of them basically dwindled it down. You got to have Christ there, and they were telling me this. You know it, but then you get encouraged. I was really encouraged from every speaker.
Yeah.
Every speaker. I enjoyed. That was my me time.
And see, that's wonderful. And she's speaking about, you know, and even when you were saying that, Ella Crystal, you are talking about what real ministry is. That's why so many things we slap a label ministry on is it ministry because there's no people involved. The trash ministry can't be ministry because no person is impacted by changing a trash bag.
Well, actually,
the can
they are.
is. Well, I know so,
Because
but
if you leave that trash in there,
Somebody will pass out. And not under the
come
tree.
on.
it's gonna run everybody out the ministry.
It is. I'm not.
I'm
You're
just
right.
messing with you,
You're right. No,
no, I get
and
what
I'm
you're
not
saying.
diminishing.
I get what you're saying.
trash ministry folks at 4717.
Keep on taking out that
taking out the
trash.
trash. Steve Tony has a wonderful schedule. I'm not diminishing the trash ministry.
That's right. Honey, take the trash out. Take it out. Take it out.
But I think what happens is people want to get claps for just doing
Tasks.
something that are tasks
That's a task.
that you just need to do consistently and faithfully, and that's just stewardship. That is just being a good steward.
But even showing up is not ministry.
right, right.
Showing up is not ministry. We act like, oh, we should get a pat on the back because we showed up to our church
Yes.
or to
Yes.
our conference. Like those things, you don't get a cookie for that.
Yeah.
That is for you.
Yes.
That's going to help you,
Motivate.
live your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to help you deal with things, when you hear the word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think you were going to.
I was going to say, I think people tag ministry onto things because it's being done in the ministry. It's a part of the ministry, so that's why they say ministry. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But whatever we do is to the glory of God.
Amen.
And especially if we do it wholeheartedly, even if we clean in the commode, be praying and singing a song or what have you. And that's me time too when you're in the church cleaning the commode.
Yes. And you know, it's
for me now.
That's
but
what
but I like what you said, Pastor, because it's like there is a difference between serving and ministry in the sense that service is just as unto the Lord. Whatever you give me to do, I'm happy to do it. But again, ministry is I am doing this to impact somebody else. It's different. And we're all supposed to be, this is the psalm you read this morning, serving the Lord with gladness.
Yes.
It's what we're all supposed to be doing, and we don't have to slap the label ministry on it and say, oh, the ministers are supposed to do that, and the elders are supposed to do that, and that is why you have so little, participation. Because it's like, unless I can put a ministry title on it, I'm not working. I want that prestige and the reward. But where's the real rewards? Where's the real rewards? Is it the reward in saying I'm over the color blue? And then, when there's not enough blue in the room, it's like I'm no longer over the color blue. I'm stepping back. Because that's the thing I don't like about this whole setup is the feeling like you can quit and, just say, my time is up. I need to relinquish this if you were really called to it. Can you really quit something you're called to? Question for the Facebook family and for everybody in the coffee club. Can you quit something? This is a deep question.
I think it's called retiring.
I can't wait. He says it's called retiring, and I can't wait. But yeah, see, this is the thing. It is a trick question. Talk
It's a
about
good
it.
question.
Talk about it.
It's a good question.
Can you really quit something if you say you're called to it?
No, I feel no, you can't, because if it's in your heart and it's a part of the ministry, the Lord Jesus Christ is in us. He didn't quit. We can't quit because the word is great is He that is within me and He that's in the world. So I have the fullness of the Lord within me. So I got to persevere no matter what it looked like, what it feel like. I got to keep pushing. I got to keep praying until something happens. So this is what it's all about. No, we cannot quit. A lot of times I say I just give up, but that part that's not Linda, gives me that tenacity to continue to push or what have you.
I think a little different. I think that the word has to change from quit to give up or release.
Right.
Because you're not quitting it when you hand it over to somebody.
Exactly.
Succession
Yes.
is something that we have to learn. Like we have to learn. Like you should not continue to do the same job forever.
Right.
At some point, you should be grooming and training somebody else to do what you do, so that you can move on to something else.
It's a relay
Even
race.
if the thing that you move on to is just consulting or advising or coaching, it should be a point where you are, as you go through different seasons in life, that you're allowing yourself to not only go to that next level, but you're helping somebody else to go to the level that you left.
Take your seat.
I know Deacon Tony ran track, and it would be like if Deacon Tony was on the track team and he was running, and when he had the baton and he handed it to the next person, if he kept on running with them the whole time, people would look at him like, what is
the need for me to run?
Right.
You go ahead and do everything.
Yes.
And that's what happens in ministry, that people are like, you know what? I can't help because you won't let me help.
Yes, that's true.
So you know what? Instead of me sitting here trying to fight with you on this thing that you won't let go, I'm just going to let you do it. Weigh yourself out. Knock yourself out.
And part of the reason I did ask this question is because the reason why people won't release it is because they feel like people will call them a quitter. See, some people hold on to it out of a sense of guilt, like everybody's going to think that I just dropped the ball, so I just have to keep on. I'm stressed out. Somebody could do it better than me, but I can't release this or I'm a failure. See, are people living with that?
That's somebody that didn't have enough me time. That's somebody that didn't learn who they are. Because if you know who you are, then the whole thing is you're not living your life based on what other people think in the first place. Like, people are going to think whatever they think. Let them think what they think. But if you do what you do from a clean heart and a pure place, then you don't have a point to prove to
You don't have to
anybody.
explain yourself to anybody.
Every mountain has a peak.
Every mountain has a peak.
When you get to the other side of it, start going down.
He's not only the maestro, he's now the guru. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. That is we can actually do it, drop the mic. That's right. You do peak and you do want to turn things over, because if you instill something in somebody else, they can probably take it farther. To your point about, there's some great analogies. The relay race, they can go farther than your little legs can carry you. You were only meant to go a certain part of the way. That little legs comment was for you, Mother Claudette. I tried to climb into the rental car. She's always saying
But
how high
sometimes
up
you
it is.
should quit things. Like if you are an usher and you got an attitude every week taking people to the
Yes.
seat,
Yes.
it's not for you. You should quit, and it's okay.
It's
you know what?
okay.
It's okay. You're not good at that. Like if you get up and sing and you can't remember the words every week, nobody can go into the presence of God because you are a distraction now. You should quit that. You should go find something else. If you're in the kitchen ministry and you can't cook, quit.
But people feel like I can't.
It's okay.
But people
It doesn't mean that you're not saved and God doesn't love you. God still loves you.
Yeah. People feel like I cannot quit until I am given the permission to stop doing something that I was asked to do.
That's a bad culture. That is a bad culture when we create a culture where people feel like they have to please us. That's some wrong thinking there. Like you shouldn't have to like prove to your pastor that you're saved by doing something that you don't want to do.
It's too much me time.
Like if you can't preach, okay, like if your father is a good preacher, but you can't preach, that's not your gift. For you to get up there and be fumbling through papers and stuttering the whole time just because you gotta please your father, you need counseling. Like, you know, there's something wrong there. Something wrong.
But I think sometimes, when people are called to something and they get in it, they just feel like they're supposed to be in it for life. It's like a fighter that gets the belt. They don't know how to relinquish the belt to the next person. And so it gets to be where it gets to be almost like drudgery, and you don't want people coming, as Pastor Sherry was saying, if you're not good in this particular area, give it up. Let somebody else move in it, but because of our psyches and our conceit in our heart, we just feel like we don't.
And then that also speaks to who's your leader. Yes. Because your leader should be able to tell you should be in a relationship where it's transparent enough where you're able to say, that wasn't good. Like at our church, we had a minister's service for a year. And, I sat down with the minister and said, this is terrible. Nobody's here but y'all preaching to each other every week. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's no creativity, no excitement with it. So we're going to cancel it. And then, you can get to a place where once everybody wants to do it again and really has a passion for it, then we do it. But I don't have time to waste. I can sit home and watch Lifetime. And I could sit home and have me time and do something that I want to do. But for us to just go through the motions, just because we want to say we held on to this tradition of doing something.
Yeah, that some things can sunset, and it's okay. It really is okay.
And it's and it makes people sad. It's not a good thing because you're walking on eggshells, and then people are not happy in what they want to do, and their mind is somewhere else. So it's just best.
To keep it fresh.
During NBA All-Star Weekend, they used to have an old timers game. They stopped a couple years ago because it was ridiculous. They just stopped doing it.
Wasn't entertaining. Right, an idea is just that. Sometimes it's an idea. You have things that are strong. So I'm going to take one last twist on this topic, and then we're going to go to creep my nerves. Last twist on this topic. So we agree that you can leave something, you need to build a succession plan, etc. Can you introduce something because you're good at it? Because you're the best at so and such and so and such, and I like the color blue. I think we should have a color blue committee. Is that the solution?
Starting new stuff?
Yes. Startup ministries all over the place in church. What do you think about that? Okay. Startup ministries. So we already talked about what's real ministry. It's the trash ministry, the real ministry. But what do you think about startup ministries?
Well, startup ministries can be beneficial if it's building the kingdom. If it's just if it's something that's done from a spirit of pride, then no. But if it's something that's done from building the kingdom of God and it's going to help the body, then most definitely.
So how do you measure?
Yeah.
You measure by the fruit that it bears.
Okay.
But that means you gotta let it start then.
I'm sorry.
That means you have to let it start then.
Exactly. And if it's fruitful, then you continue. If it's fruitless, okay, let's think about when Jesus passed by the fig tree. When he passed by the fig tree the first time and it had no fruit, he didn't curse the tree at that point because it wasn't its time. But when he came back by the tree and it still didn't have any fruit, what did he do? He cursed the tree. And
But he was going to curse the tree when he first went by. It was somebody interceded.
Exactly.
The vineyard owner is the only reason why he didn't do it.
But he gave it an opportunity. He gave it
So is that what's happening in our churches? We're like the vineyard owner, and we're like,
That's what
Jesus, let him have the minister's service one more year. And if it bears fruit,
Right.
The thing about it is this here. The thing about it, let me tell you, it does not take God a whole year to show himself, first off. So we need to, as leaders, we need to have, okay, so God has, those of us that are seasoned, we don't have just hindsight, okay? We have foresight, we have insight, and we have hindsight. So the leaders that, okay, just because you're a leader does not mean that you also have foresight, insight, and hindsight, okay?
or that you're seasoned.
Season.
Right. Yes,
When you got to that
or
season
that
part.
you're seasoned, exactly. So those that are truly elders in the ministry, those that are truly elders in ministry, I think that those are the people that should be in charge of those type things. Those are the people that should be in charge of leading ministries, the ministries. Because those are the type people that would have the wisdom, the knowledge, and we know that wisdom is the ability to utilize the knowledge and have understanding of the knowledge to use it appropriately so that it is fruitful. Okay.
But I guess the question I would have for you is that a lot of times we say, okay, well, let's bring something in and let it grow. But the person who's bringing it in, and here's why I asked this question, is a lot of times people bring it in not with the idea that I will fold it into the ministry I'm a part of, but it's its own little baby that I have brought to this ministry, and so it's my baby.
It's a church within a church.
Yes. How do you address that feeling? When I say startup ministry, I mean this literally, that somebody's starting and planting. It's not a tree in a vineyard. It's like, I see your vineyard, I got a tree I want to bring over to your vineyard.
And then I want to pull it out of your vineyard and start
when
my
I'm ready.
vineyard.
When I want it to grow and blossom there, and then as soon as it bears all its fruit, I'm ready to take my tree now and go start my own.
But why isn't that godly?
Say again?
It's just multiplying by dividing.
Okay, but so talk about it. That's the question. Is it appropriate if we're all in the kingdom and we all just want to see whatever grow? Is that appropriate?
You can't effectively coach a large group. So that's why you see, like, it's a lot of people. See, it might be a mega church and there's 5,000 people in it, but nobody knows the word. They only know what they just heard the other person say, and they repeat it. And then and you play the game when you're in like elementary school. You have like, I tell you a secret, and then you.
By the time it gets around, it's a different.
It's nonsense. So you got people that know nothing, and.
But you said seasoned and mature. Who said this? Somebody said seasoned and mature. And you know, you put that title on people that are in authority, elders. And then they bring something about in the church that is supposed to bring the church together, not separate the church. That's what Terry Olson was just talking about, that they were having a little problem there, you know, because people had their own idea. But if you're in a group, in a team, then you work from that group, that team. You don't go off.
Yeah, I agree with you, Pastor Merrill. He gave a great example of people who had their own individual thing, but they were able to bring it all together in a fusion, great word, to create a bigger, better thing than they could have having just fashion, just food, just whatever, and they could bring it together. And can we do that in ministry? That's the key. Is instead of saying, I'm going to take my fashion and have a fashion week. Yes, that's what this weekend is all about. Yeah, Pastor Jerry. That's what this weekend is all about. Is it all of us taking, we're all in different churches everywhere. We're all doing different things. It's all the same ministry. And it's not my little startup piece, it's not mine. And we're all doing real ministry. That's right. We're not putting ministry titles on something because it's what I know how to do. And saying, I do this well, let's call it a ministry because then I'll be successful. It's like we're doing really things that impact. That's what this weekend's all about.
And each of us can take a page and tear it out of the Bible. But if we had one person try to take this whole Bible and try to tear it, you cannot do it.
Yeah, good.
But the devil will pick you off if you're going to do it in little groups.
That's
Take
excellent.
a couple pages.
That's excellent. Yeah, we can be right. We can be defeated if we are not united. You know. So we talked about what is real ministry, how to do real ministry. Have you enjoyed the coffee clubs up to this point?
Yeah.
Because we always like to round out. We always like to round out with a little fun segment that we call
Creep My Nerves.
Miss Angie.
Minister Angie started this thing whenever we talk about something, and she'd be like, when people do this, it creeps my nerves. When they cut me off in traffic, it creeps my nerves. And it's something that we always visit every week. And one thing we find out is our list of things that creep our nerves is getting less.
Yes. So
It should be getting less. It should be,
Yes. We can be in traffic and not be disturbed. There you go. So this is our segment, What Creeps Your Nerves? Go ahead and send us a message, those that are online. What kinds of things creep your nerves? I've got one. See, the trip is just so good for different things. So if you are the violator, what creeps my nerves is people who go into the restroom to talk on the telephone. You know what I'm saying? It's echoing in there and everything. And I'm thinking, what does the person that you're talking to think about where you are? I don't even want to go to the bathroom. If you're in the stall next to me on the phone, it's like, because I just don't want to make any noise. Because it's like blasting my audio. Okay, I hope that's not inappropriate. I'm talking about water sounds. Okay? I'm talking about water sounds. But it creeps my nerves.
never lets me down.
But like, if you're going to go somewhere, timeout. I get a timeout for that. I was talking about water sounds. But it's like, why go in the bathroom to have a phone conversation? It creeps my nerves. It creeps my nerves. So
my neighbor does that. She goes outside her house, man. She has a husband and kids.
She's cheating on him.
And she's around the corner and she's talking. And I'm like, why can't you do that in your house? So that kind of...
That's suspect. Suspicious behavior. And we said no names, so we're in good shape here. Right.
And you told me this morning one that she creep her nerves is when the people text Jewel, and that's it.
You do that. You do that. You do that. No, Minister Angie will text me, hi, Pastor.
Yeah, she does that to me too. Good morning.
I'm sorry.
And then she's waiting, like it's a conversation. I'm like, what do you want? Like, finish the whole message. You know what? Speaking of that, what creeps my nerves is when people call your phone and say, could you call me back? I need to talk to you about something. What do you want?
They might not be able to call out.
No, like just tell me what you want to ask me, and then I can call you back and tell you yes or no. I feel like you're setting me up for something.
Yeah.
Or like when people call you and say, hey, what do you have planned today?
Right.
Instead, just tell me what you want.
Right.
Because now I'm defensive. Now I'm feeling like, what do you want?
Could you call me?
That creeps my nerves.
Yes. Could you call me? And it's like, is it an emergency? You really like are panicked, especially when you see it like 5 hours later. You know what I'm saying?
That's you.
me. I creep your nerves, right? Because I don't always answer right when you call. I don't carry my phone with me like every second. You know, so.
Well, you need to.
Yeah. Yeah. Others.
That's
What
creep
kinds
my
of?
nerves too.
Yeah, what creeps your nerves?
Especially with my sister, my family back home. Could you call my other brother and tell him, why you don't call him? Instead of call me to
Oh
get him.
yes. When people try to make you their messenger.
I'm really upset.
Yes.
You calling me to call him and tell him the same time, the time you take to call me.
Yeah,
Just
you
call
can
me.
call them.
Yeah.
How about when you pay for a service?
Yeah.
People,
What creeps my nerves is when people tell me I can't.
Come on.
all right, go ahead.
And I'm envisioning myself doing things, and I know I can do it.
That's
They
right.
tell me I can't.
Yeah.
They tell me I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know I can do it.
When you paying for a service, but people act like they're doing you a favor. Oh,
Yes.
wait a minute. I'm paying you. You're not doing me a favor. I'm paying you. You know, I'll take my money somewhere else. Thank you.
Yes.
Being an American citizen.
He said being an American citizen creeps his nerves. Being an American citizen? Where would you like to live?
Yes.
Singapore.
Yes. We'll work out. Yeah.
I just need 2 years off.
Yeah.
When my mother tells me I'm rolling my eyes at her, but I'm not.
Oh, of course you are. Of course you are. Every teenager tells their mother they're not rolling their eyes. I'm like, I just saw you.
Oh my God.
That's called gaslighting. Now you got me thinking I'm crazy for something that you just did.
I'm with the mothers.
I want you guys to think that we're so angsty that we would do that, but we're not.
No, we really see your eyes roll.
There was something on the ceiling. Something up there. There was something on the ceiling. Was there one more over here?
What creeps my nerves is when you go into like a retail store or even a supermarket, and they're talking about the leadership in their job site, and they're trying to, it's nothing positive, but then they're trying to pull me, the customer, into the conversation. I don't want to be a part of it. Just want to get my product and tell you to have a nice day. And I really mean it, but I don't want to be a part of it.
Yes, it is kind of creepy.
How about when you have to give customer service and you're the customer? Like you have to speak to the person that's ringing you up, and you have to make eye contact. You have to do all those things. It's like,
Elder's a little salty about that customer service stuff going.
it's been adventurous.
We had one issue getting here. What creeps my nerve, and I told you, Deacon Sister, I was giving you a shout out, is people who come to the airport without their identification.
She got clear.
But you know what? We made it, and it worked out for the best, and it made for a good adventure story about our trip. It made it very, very
She put
fun.
my black pressure
Yeah,
over
she
here. We're gonna miss the plane.
I got one more. Incompetent workers. So Jewel ordered Uber Eats the other day from Starbucks. No, not Uber Eats. DoorDash. DoorDash from Starbucks from DoorDash. So we get a call from this number, and the guy, Jewel, is like, huh? And she starts laughing, and she says, wait a minute, hold on, and she gives me the phone, and the guy's like, I'm not lying, he's doing banana.
What's he saying?
Banana. I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying, and he's like, next thing you know, I'm crying. Like, I can't even say anything. I don't understand anything you're saying. Is there somebody else I can speak to? Finally, he puts this lady on the phone who says, we don't do DoorDash here at this one. He's at the wrong Starbucks. And I can't get him to understand. I'm out of this. I have nothing to do with this. Goodbye.
Give me my money.
Banana. We'll take a few from online, and then I think we're in the wrap up. Telephone. Creep my my nerves? We have anybody?
We don't have nobody.
Okay.
Nobody's nerves is creeped on.
Very good, very good. Then it all I think we hit the segment of the show where usually we try to end with a musical number, and Just Danielle is coming to grace us with a song. So we usually try to split the set, and we're going to give you Just Danielle. All right, hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, this life's filled with ups and downs in this life. You'll feel highs and lows in this life's unpredictable to the end. But don't you know that there's a season for everything? You gotta know there's a season for everything. So when you up high, keep striving, and when you're down low, acknowledge there's a season for everything. Hey, I've had my joy and sorrow. I just make the best, cause tomorrow ain't promised. I just lay the rest on my worries. I gotta trust in the Lord, cause I know that He got me. All things are working for my good. I'm called to His purpose, and I know He knows that I love Him. It shows when it glows like sunshine in darkness. So I let my head down, let go of the screw face, thank God for a new day. I will never lose faith, even if I lose things. I know they come for a reason. It's only for a season, cause this life's filled with ups and downs in this life. You'll feel highs and lows, cause this life's unpredictable to the end. But don't you know that there's a season for everything? You gotta know there's a season for everything. So when you up high, keep striving, and when you're down low, acknowledge there's a season for everything. Hey, smile more, that's my new thing. They go all true grit, no John Wayne. All of my good days, I wait my bad days. I won't complain, I won't throw in the towel. No, He keeps me balanced, even if I'm on the roads. I will enjoy my life down to every second. Won't take it for granted. Yeah, I let my head down, let go of the screw face. Thank God for a new day. I will never lose faith, even if I lose faith. I know they gone for a reason. If only for a season. Cause this life's filled with ups and downs in this life. You'll feel highs and lows, cause this life's unpredictable to the end. But don't you know that there's a season for everything? You gotta know there's a season for everything. Hey, so when you up high, keep striving, and when you're down low, acknowledge there's a season for everything. Hey, so all my worries, I just throw them out the window. I'm on vacation, and all my kids, I just throw them out the window. It's a conference. Hey, all my doubts, I just throw them out the window. Hey, and all my fears, I just throw them out the window. Cause you know that there's a season for everything. You gotta know there's a season for everything. Hey, so when you